What is going on, guys? Chipmaster22 here, and welcome to my 2018 driver lineup predictions. A little bit of a different video today. The summer break is currently on in the Formula 1, so we have zero Formula 1 on the TV, which is a horrible experience. The football's starting again, but it's not Formula 1, so we're missing out. And by the time this video comes out, it'll still be just under 2 weeks until the Formula 1 starts in Belgium. So still got a while to go. So I thought I'd do something different, driver predictions for next season. So let's get right into it, starting with Mercedes. Quite a simple lineup, really. You know, Lewis and Bottas will stay. Both are very good drivers. There was rumours towards the start of the season that Bottas was only on a 1-year contract, but with the performances he's putting in to that Mercedes car, he's got to stay, surely. And then with Lewis, he will stay. He's the best driver in the grid, hands down. And the only way he will leave Mercedes is if the car is bad or he just doesn't enjoy it anymore. He said in previous interviews with Channel 4, he said he'll leave because of the media and the stigma he gets in the media rather than actually leaving because he's not very good anymore. So that's interesting to see. So I think Lewis Hamilton maybe another 2-3 years maybe in Formula 1 and then he's done. But he's at the top of his game now, so why would he leave? And Bottas is equally as good. Next off is Red Bull. Again, they will stay exactly the same with Max and Daniel Ricciardo, both very, very good drivers, both young drivers as well. So they've got plenty of years left to win titles. I think both will get titles, and you know I'm a Red Bull fan, so hopefully next season the car will be a little bit better. They've got to. There's now and again they can be competing with Ferrari and Mercedes, but it's not often enough for my liking, really. So hopefully both will do better next season. But yeah, Red Bull will keep both those drivers because they're not going to go anywhere else. There are rumours that Max is going to go to Ferrari, but no way would Red Bull let Max go. A silly decision if they did let him go, because he's going to win 2-3 titles in his career. Hands down, I'm going to predict it now. On to the next team is Ferrari, which is an interesting one. So Sebastian Vettel, I believe, will stay. I think he's out of contract. I'm not 100% on that, but I'm sure he'll get a new contract soon enough, and he's a very good driver as well. And I think he will get one more title before he retires. He's got 4 at the moment, so I think one more will do him nicely. The second seat, this is the interesting part, is Kimi Räikkönen. Will he go or will he stay? It's a difficult one. I believe he will go because he's a second driver, and I don't think he's enjoying it anymore. He's always moaning on the radio and team orders and all the rest of the stuff. And I guess with Ferrari, as long as one driver is doing well, they don't care. You saw it in the Schumacher days. Barrichello was always a second driver, hands down. You know, the team orders multiple times in that era. So I think it'll be the same again. And Fernando Alonso and Massa to an extent as well, when they were both driving Ferrari. So maybe if Kimi Räikkönen's happy to stay as a second driver, he could stay. But what I'd hope, and is most likely be very unlikely, but I'm going to put it out there now, is Carlos Sainz going to Ferrari. He said he doesn't want to stay anymore at Force India. He's been there for his 3rd season in Toro Rosso, and I just he's a very good driver, and hopefully he will move on with his career. But it seems I don't know really. It's a difficult one. There's room with Grosjean and Perez, but they're too old for it now. I don't think Ferrari would want them in the car. So Sainz is my prediction, and Christian Horner's also said that he can be bought. So there is potential there, but he's still young, so I have to wait and see for that one. So let's now move on to Force India. I think stay exactly the same. Ocon and Perez have both done a great job this season so far, and it'd be silly not to change those drivers, both scoring points on a weekly basis. They're both quality drivers. Perez has always been rumoured with going to Ferrari, but he thinks he's 30 years old now. I don't think he'll go. He has a lot of money behind him. There are always rumours about there's Mexican backer always saying that he'll back him to go to Ferrari, but I can't see it happening. Perez will stay and Ocon will stay. And Ocon, I'd hope, will eventually go into Mercedes maybe when Lewis Hamilton leaves. That's what I hope. Ocon is another great driver, and hopefully he'll get his chance one day as well. On to the next team, which is Haas. They've already confirmed the drivers. They confirmed it last month. Kevin Magnussen and Roman Grosjean, a solid midfield pair. I can't. Grosjean, Grosjean had a chance at one point, but he messed it up during Lotus's. Just the amount of crashes he caused in that Lotus in 2012 was horrendous. Everybody remembers in Spa turn 1, which was an awful crash, which could have been so much worse, but luckily it wasn't. But that was an awful crash, and I think that was his. He had a chance a couple of years ago, but not anymore. He's just there to get paid, really. And then K-Mag, I don't know. He could go somewhere else, but unless he pulls out some good performances in that Haas car next season, I can see him staying there for a while. And then on to the next team, which is McLaren, which is an interesting one because this all depends on the engine supplier. So if McLaren choose to stay with Honda, I think Alonso will go. And if they go with Mercedes, he'll stay. That's my prediction. So if they do go with Honda, I could potentially see maybe Sainz or what's his name? I've completely forgot his name. That is really bad. Pascal Wehrlein. There we go. Going to McLaren to pair with Van Dorn. They're not limited by any sponsors that need it over 25 like Williams has. So I think maybe they could pair up with Van Dorn, who won't be a rookie anymore. There'll be no rookies in that team. And if they were Mercedes, I think they'd be a great team. They'll be up with battling for the third, fourth best team, I think, next season, potentially. And again, this all depends to get the aerodynamics right and they get the engine right. The aerodynamics part of the McLaren is fantastic. It's just the engine that lets them down every week. But we saw in Hungary, Alonso had a great finish, fast lap, which amazing. I think someone made a lot of money out of a random bet on that. I think it was 500 to 1 or something, so they made a lot of money. So I think Alonso and Van Dorn if they go Mercedes, and then Sainz/Wehrlein with Van Dorn if they stick with Honda. I think Alonso will go to IndyCar or Le Mans or something like that. And then mentioning Williams, Massa, he's got to go. He's too old for it. He's past it. He's an old horse. He's no good anymore. He should have left it when he retired last year. He should have left it like that. And I think it's quite sad that it's like when Schumacher came back and when Mansell came back. It doesn't work. It just didn't work. So I think he's got to go. Really. But then that causes issues with the sponsorship. Of course, they're sponsored by Martini, and Martini require drivers to be over 25. So Stroll will be 19 by the time 2018 starts, and that will be an issue. Of course, Martini are a massive company and they bring a lot of money into that Williams. Unless they can maybe swap it with another sponsor, we'll have to wait and see. But to pair Stroll up, I'm going with Pascal Wehrlein. He is a Mercedes young driver, and of course Mercedes supply parts to Williams, especially the engine is the main one, and of course a link to Paddy Lowe. So I think Wehrlein will go there. I'd hope he goes because I think Wehrlein's a great driver. He's outperformed Ericsson on a weekly basis at Sauber. Ericsson is a crap driver. He needs to go, really. But I think Wehrlein would do great in that Williams car, and I hope he would go there, but we'll have to wait and see, really. F1 politics. But I hope with the affiliation with Mercedes, Wehrlein can get into that seat. But again, it depends on the sponsors. But I think Williams next season will be a good team. With Paddy Lowe having a full season to develop that car, I think they could potentially fight in McLaren for that third, fourth, fifth spacing with Red Bull as well. I think Ferrari and Mercedes will be there again, but hopefully other teams will catch up and it'll be another great year for Formula 1, but to wait and see, really. Renault is another interesting one. Of course, Jolyon Palmer, as you guys might know, not a fan. I've never thought he was any good. He's in there because he's got lots of money, personally, and I don't think he's going to stay. There are rumours that he'll be out by the time Spa comes round. I don't think that will happen. I think Renault won't do that to him, but I think he'll go out, and Robert Kubica, the old Polish man, will come back and show what he's made of. That Renault is improving every year. I think in 3 or 4 years' time, that Renault will be fighting for titles. That's what they've said. They come back in the spot properly now. I think they'll relive the days of 2004 to 2006 when they were just a fantastic team. And I hope that does happen because they were brilliant back in the day. So I think Kubica and Hulkenberg will stay. He's a very solid driver, and he's yet to get a podium, which is gutting because he's another great driver. He's getting old now, and he's always been great, but never there, which is frustrating because he is a very good driver. But I'd like to see him get there. But so I think Hulkenberg will stay for a few years as well, and then Kubica is 32 now, so maybe he could do a year or two. But I guess it's not fair on Sergio Sorokin, who is the reserve driver for them, because he's not getting any driving experience really. I'd love to see young drivers in the sport, but F1 teams don't risk it enough these days really, so unless they've got money behind them, they won't risk it. And Renault have got plenty of money behind them, so they won't risk going for a young driver because they can pay someone who's a lot better, who has a lot more experience. So that will be an interesting pairing, I think, next year, and that'll be a very good pairing because that Renault will be getting better every single year. Then we come to Sauber, and you might be asking, who cares? It's Sauber, and that's very true. Who cares? But they will be getting the 2018 Ferrari engine, so they will be quick because that Ferrari engine this year is quick. And I can't see it dying down much from to the next season, due to there won't be much regulation changes. So that's how it could potentially be quite quick. But we'll have to wait and see in the aerodynamics, because of course they have a much smaller budget than the top teams because they're a private team. But the lineup wise, I'm going with Ericsson, unfortunately, again, because he's backed by lots of money and he's a waste of space really. But no one else has got the same amount of money as he has, so he'll be in there for another year. And to take that space, I'm going to go for Antonio Giovinazzi. He is a very, very talented driver. You saw it in the first couple of races when he replaced Pascal Wehrlein due to the injury. He admittedly did crash twice around the same corner in China, but I see him doing very well. He's been testing for Haas as well, and he's got some more tests to do towards the end of the season, but I'd love to see him in a race seat properly in Formula 1 because he is a great driver. And unfortunately, I don't think he can get into Ferrari just because Ferrari don't take risks on young drivers. Because the last person he risked was Massa, maybe, but he had experience before that. I think it was Jordan or Benetton he was racing for before, so I don't know. It's so difficult for young drivers these days. Maybe they need a third car. I remember mentioning it in the podcast, a third car or a young drivers team or something like that to get the young drivers to get experience and they get a chance to actually race in Formula 1. And the final team is Toro Rosso. And this is another interesting one because currently they've got Sainz and Kvyat. Kvyat is an absolute knob. He's awful. The last 2 seasons he has been bad. Since leaving Red Bull, he has been awful. And he's rumoured, Helmut Marko has indicated that Kvyat's got another year, which I don't understand unless he's bringing money to the team. You see it by the performances on track. You saw it in Silverstone, he was bad. I didn't really watch Hungary because I was away, so I don't really know, but Silverstone, and there's plenty of other examples where he's such a bad driver. And some people, they say his favourite driver. How can you say Kvyat is your favourite driver? I do not know. But I think Kvyat may stay. I don't want him to stay. But what my dream lineup would be, I think, the thing is, again, it depends if Kvyat or Sainz go, but I can definitely see Pierre Gasly in that seat. He has done fantastic in the lower formulas, and he's racing in the Japanese formula. I can't remember what they call it, but he's racing there now, and he's wasting away really because it's not that competitive. Van Dorn had it last season, so hopefully Gasly can get in. And maybe Charles Leclerc. I know he's sort of part of the Ferrari program, I think, but I'm not 100% on that. But I think both young drivers, Leclerc and Gasly, in that car will be fantastic. That all depends if Kvyat goes and if Sainz moves on, and who knows, really. But it's mouthwatering to see the lineup that could potentially be on the card for next season with so many young drivers coming in and different faces. It would be fantastic to see. So, but we'll have to wait and see. But let me know in the comments below your thoughts and who do you think the main guys will be moving and who will be leaving and who should go, who should stay. Let me know in the comments below. But guys, if you enjoyed the video of my predictions, I know I'm not the best analyst in the world, but I try my best. But if you enjoyed it, smash the like button. And if you're new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe because I make daily content, well, almost daily content. So, and you know, I make all sorts of vlogs, F1 videos, project cars, all sorts. So, yeah, I will see you in the next few days for another video. Good night.